Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a good day out there, wherever that happens to be. In today's video, you'll notice that the background here looks a little bit different and it kind of resembles a hotel room, right? Well, indeed, it is a hotel room, but not just any hotel room that you can find in the United States, but instead a very, very nice hotel room inside of Shanghai, China. So some of you guys know this already, but I've been teaching a kind of a technology camp for high school students and college freshmen on how to program for the very first time, at least for some of them, using Swift and iOS UI Kit. So today's video, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about some of the difficulties and challenges of teaching high school students how to program. Personally, I don't have a ton of experience teaching high school students, so I definitely walked away from this experience with a much better understanding on how beginners kind of approach programming and what their perspective is on the whole topic of software development. Alright, so one of the things that I found to be a little bit difficult and also a bit of a challenge was teaching the language of Swift to a bunch of students that didn't really have a ton of exposure to programming itself. Now, some of the things that I understand very, very easily, and some of you guys that are more experienced also understand very easily, these things don't come to students as quickly as we would hope. So, for example, some things such as functions, if statements, for loops, variable scope, and also classes and structs. Some of these things are actually quite difficult for beginners to understand. So I've kind of gained a much better perspective on how to teach students that don't know how to program exactly what these things are. Alright, so the second thing that I realized was that going through how to build out UI Kit components with purely code can be very, very scary to students that don't know how to program. So what I kind of did for this class was to go through first how to build out basic UI views with code, and then we sort of moved on to storyboards and how to use IP outlets and IP actions to put together really, really simple applications. So one very, very common problem that kept coming up with all of the students was how to use some of these methods, such as a number of rows and self or row at index path, when we kind of approached how to use UI table views. And another thing that came up was exactly what UI table view data source and UI table view delegate meant when building out our table views when not using a UI table view controller. So the funny thing is that some of these same problems also occurred inside of the San Francisco bootcamp that I taught last year. And the funny thing is all of these issues kind of resolve itself after a couple of days when the students finally get a chance to go over some exercises themselves and see exactly how a table view works when trying to build out a simple applications on their own. Okay, so the third challenge that I found to be kind of interesting was going through a lot of algorithms with these students and trying to get them to think in an algorithmic way. So personally, I like to learn how to kind of understand a new programming language by going through very, very simple and basic exercises, such as, for example, how to find the largest value inside of an array of integer values. So this is going to involve, perhaps a for loop and an if statement, and then finally, maybe return a certain value. So if you don't know how a language works, I think going through some of these very, very simple algorithm challenges can be super, super helpful for understanding the syntax of a language. Another example that I like to go through is, perhaps what exactly is a dictionary, and I teach this concept usually by going through the classroom and figuring out the number of occurrences of a birthday month inside of an entire class of students. So basically this is going to involve, setting a month or a string for a key and then mapping that key to a value and then increasing it by 1 every time a birthday occurs and repeats, or perhaps a birthday month repeats itself. Alright, so these are some of the things that I ran into when trying to teach students how to program that didn't exactly have a ton of experience. Let me know what kind of issues you ran into when you first started to pick up Swift and iOS and perhaps Objective-C, and how difficult it was when you first started to understand how to put together iOS applications. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you'll see more of me in the beautiful Shanghai area. I'm going to be heading up to Beijing very soon, so hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye guys.